Okay, welcome to the regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen, Wednesday, June 26, 2024. Can we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? And Charlie, will you lead us?
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first item is to hear updates from the first Selectman. I think we've talked about this, but we are going to, we're planning to form a charter revision commission. This would require us on the Board of Selectmen to approve a charge, like that to happen early September, thinking that typically it would not be more than 7 people. And it would be good to get this charter revision commission working maybe middle to third week of September. Second item, just want to. Oh.
Is it on the website in terms of right now as a commission that people can sign up for?
So we don't.
Opening, so
we no longer use a drop-down menu. You can put into the box what you want to the commission that you're interested in, and you can put in multiple commissions the way it's set up now, but it is on the website for people to look at. You know, there is a place on the website as a board of commission that is open for
so
for
people are just
application.
looking at under that part of on the
Right.
website.
So you would bring up I think in the old format, we used to have a drop-down menu, and now you type it in.
Okay, so any residents that want to volunteer, they just go to the website, go to Boards and Commissions webpage, look for boards and commissions that have openings, and take it from there.
So the website is www.fairfield.org. You click on government at the top, and then you can click on vacancies under boards and commissions, and then fill out the form. The interest form is under resources on the left side of the page. So next, a quick update on Juneteenth, Independence Day in the workplace. So we had a celebration on the 19th with the featured speaker, Maurice Nelson from Sacred Heart University's the Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer. And it was well attended. It was a great celebration. And thank you to Kathleen Simpson for the idea, and Pamela Ortiz for helping implement it. Thanks to everyone who participated, and the music group, which was 3 individuals whose names I forget, but they were awesome. And the food was great. So really nice day. And next I want to give an update on this Power of Pride event that we held. That was a beautiful ceremony. We rose the Pride flag. We had speakers we had Sarah Smith and Curtis Farr, the Reverend Curtis Farr, Reverend Sarah Smith, Superintendent Mike Testani, and we had other speakers, including Sarah Kitt. We also had the Fairfield Center stage sing a couple of beautiful songs. And thank you everyone for coming to that and participating. Thank you to Paula Tommins, Lisa Claire, and Christine Brown for the work you did just to organize it, Parks and Rec, DPW, really nice event. The next item is the announcement of a soon-to-be-held special Board of Selectmen meeting to discuss capital projects as requested by Selectman Kupchik. So we need to agree on a date for that. And we will notify everyone when that comes up. Next will be an update on a child's garden. We have signed an agreement with the child's garden to to give them a year on top of the year that we were originally planning on giving them. So through May 2026, we have terms and conditions which we've all agreed to. That announcement will be coming out today probably. It was a compromise between the early childhood education, the early childhood, the ECC, Early Childhood Center of the Board of Ed, and the parents who were seeing a 1.5 year waiting list, which the 1 year that we were giving the owners of a child's garden wouldn't have given them. Some of them felt they would not have enough time to find alternatives. So this was a really nice compromise, and we are going to help to the extent we can the owners of a child's garden who've committed to finding another venue in Fairfield to hold their business. And so our economic development office will be helping them find space, hopefully. Update on Pilot House Special Needs Center. Met with Doreen Caruso. We've agreed to allow her to stay in that space. Terms have not, we've really agreed on terms that would allow her to get through her busy season with fundraising and then some, but we're waiting to hear back from her on a plan for transitioning out of that space after the end of the year. So I think that was a compromise as well that we both appreciated. And lastly, I want to announce that David Becker, I've named him Chief Operating Officer of Fairfield. And I'm going to read a statement about David because this is, for me, a very happy occasion. So I'm happy to announce David Becker will be our administration's new Chief Operating Officer. David was someone I had observed at meetings for years, but did not know personally. I saw him in action when he won a seat as Republican on the RTM at the age of 27 and as Republican Majority Leader on the RTM. As a candidate to be the Republican nominee for Selectman at the age of 28, as a Republican member of the Board of Finance for 2 terms, and as Chief of the Southport Fire Department. It was really only over the past couple of years that I knew David Becker well enough to even say hello to him. My impression of David was as a fiscal conservative with an obsession for operational efficiency and an intense love of Fairfield. Even up to today, I've never been in his home, and he's never been in mine. We don't hang out outside of work. And I'm saying this to address some of the noise I've heard, and I'm seeing in emails insinuating there's more to this appointment than the fact that he is an amazing asset for the town and a fantastic addition as COO. I've never met anyone quite like David. His resume is in the revised backup for the meeting. So this is my appointment to make, not the Board of Finance, not the Board of Selectmen, and not the Republican Town Committee. Let me address why I had planned to post this job and interview several candidates before picking one. And I did say so publicly, I was going to do that, but I changed my mind. First, I have been working with David closely for over 6 months. I recall the former first select person joking about hiring her Chief Administrative Officer after a great 4-hour lunch. What better test of David's character and abilities than his past 6 months in the trenches with us and with me. A couple of weeks ago, I turned to our Human Resources Director and said, it's very clear to me that David Becker is the right person for the Chief Operating Officer job. I've managed hundreds of people in my career, and I've never managed someone with this combination of intelligence, thirst for knowledge, enthusiasm, and dedication. It seemed unfair to post the job and interview people given that I knew I had already found the right person for the job. That was my choice to make, and I made it. After the election, I bumped into David and we had a long talk. He volunteered to help our administration for 3 months without pay, just because he loves Fairfield and felt there were many ways the town could be better managed. Yes, I was positively predisposed to accept his offer because he had voted his conscience on the Board of Finance and showed integrity in some stressful situations. Anyone here remembers the 504 school issue? David went against, he crossed party lines for that. yes, I was positively predisposed to him, and so when he offered to work for me, I accepted that offer. But after working as a volunteer, and he was adding value from day one, but he couldn't participate in some meetings on sensitive topics. I wanted him in the important meetings, so David offered to work for minimum wage, and that's what he did. Over several months, David became increasingly valuable to the administration and a trusted advisor to me and others. He pointed out expenses that could be cut and areas that needed investment. During the budget process, we were able to invest in some key areas while keeping our mill rate increase among the lowest I've seen to date in the state of Connecticut. We were able to add a teen librarian, a staff member to conservation, right-size the budget and structure of our joint emergency communication center, and absorb the large increases from settled contracts with union, the Board of Ed and Fire. We were able to transition our large investment portfolio from one with extreme counterparty concentration risk, about $100 million, to one with significantly lower risk and lower fees. With a strong controller, Caitlin Bossy, and a strong budget director, Frank McNary, David had an effective professional foundation behind him in his CFO role, in his interim CFO role, but spent weekends and nights helping me with operational issues in addition to his CFO responsibilities. My intention is to hire a CFO that is first rate and is not tied to any political party. This person should be viewed as nonpartisan, talented, and a long-term asset for Fairfield. Over the past decades, this has not been the case. Since I've been in Fairfield, 2 CFOs were local party stalwarts. One was a budget analyst for the state Republican Party. Yes, it has not been easy to find the right nonpartisan person with the right skill sets. I've been looking for 5.5 months. Let's not forget that Caitlin Bossy served as interim CFO while maintaining her controller responsibilities under Brenda Kupchik for almost 9 months during the period that the administration was looking for a permanent CFO. We did find 2 great applicants and both ultimately decided this wasn't the place for them. We reopened our search and have about a dozen additional applicants, in addition to the original 19 or so. Today, we will hopefully approve a contract to commence a national search for this position as well. Given we have a team with David, Caitlin, and Frank, we can and should take the time to find the right person. David's salary is staying the same as his current salary as interim CFO. So while I acknowledge the concerns some have voiced, I hope this statement and David's resume being posted addresses many of them. It's time for us to move forward and focus on what matters most, the future of our town. Thank you. Any comments?
Yes. I appreciate you reading that. I just want to clarify just a couple of things before I ask a couple of questions. To be clear, my CAO was hired not just after a 4-hour lunch. He was a C-suite attorney, and he worked for Ken Flato for 6 years as chief of staff. So he understood the town, and he had a law degree. I voiced my concerns to you in the email. I had asked for this resume back when Mr. Becker was appointed as the interim CFO. I was told by your chief of staff there was no resume on file, which I found highly unusual. All of my that I hired for my inner office had resumes, and they were requested, and I presented them. There has been no resume on file for the interim CFO. There is a resume that was posted today. And with all due respect, I understand it is your right to place who you'd like in your administration, but the taxpayers pay for every single salary in our town government. And there are a lot of concerning questions surrounding this appointment. This resume literally has inaccuracies in it. There are blatant inaccuracies about holdings with LLCs, multiple LLCs that deal with a company that earns over close to $1 million from our town. That's a huge conflict. The fact that the Secretary of State's filings do not match up with what's in this resume is of great concern. Because anyone who wouldn't be honest on their resume, it should be concerning to every single person in this town when they're handling a $400 million
I just say,
organization.
if you're accusing of something, you might want to be a little.
I'm
careful
just saying
about
that there.
Probably
if you
should know
go
the
to
facts.
Secretary of
Better be
State's,
very sure of the facts.
Secretary of State's
Just, you know,
website.
you don't want to slander somebody.
I'm saying there are inaccuracies, and any executive who's hiring someone for important position should make sure that the information is accurate. I think $170,000 is a lot of money for a COO. And I have real concerns about this. Conflict of interests, the lack of actual management responsibility, past work experience, and a whole host of other things I think are concerning. This is a big town, and you said very clearly for years that you were a C-suite executive. I'm quite certain corporations you worked for, very cautious about putting that kind of responsibility and making sure that someone had the right qualifications and experience.
Any comments or anything about any of the other points?
I was glad that you were able to, pull together the Pride event. It's not the same as what I put together at Rendezvous, but I think it was nice that you were able to pull it together, and I hope you enjoy it. And I do still hope that we can have now that it seems that you've warmed up to Mr. Nelson, I'd like to have him come in and talk about his recommendations on the blueprint, which he supplied close to a year ago now, to talk about how those will be implemented in our town government regarding inclusion and diversity in our operations and our hiring practices and alike. So I would like to have that on an agenda as well.
Yeah, we'll be talking a lot about diversity, inclusion, and all, but just because you hired Maurice for that, who I've met with several times now, really do like him. It doesn't mean that his recommendations are necessarily the all and end all. There's a lot of people with differing opinions on what should be done. So his will form a part of what we will be doing.
So if we could just get an update about what the town is implementing, regardless of whom is going to do it. I mean, it is 7 months, and I think it's very important. You made it a priority in December, and you said it was
definitely a priority.
So I think it's important as well. So
Yeah.
I'd be curious. I'd like to hear an update. I'm sure the public would as well.
Okay. Any comments?
No, I unfortunately missed the Juneteenth event, but I was very happy to see the town moves forward. Did attend the Pride event. It was a joyous occasion. Attended the Pride event last year as well, so I also commend what Parks and Rec did, and looking forward to next year to maybe just taking some of the high points of both of those celebrations to have something even more festive and celebratory next year. I welcome Mr. Becker to his new role. I can't really speak to Ms. Kupchak's comments, but this is your purview, trust your experience and the working relationships, and looking forward to moving forward with the CFO search. So kind of get through the transition piece and really just get to work together to move our town forward.
Yeah.
Thank you for the update.
Oh, thank you. Item number 4, resignations. This is for information only. Bicycle and Pedestrian Committee. Anthony Wellman resigned on June 17th, 2024. Thank you, Anthony, for your service on that committee. Thomas McCarthy, Republican, 15 Lovers Lane, resigned from the Water Pollution Control Authority. Item number 5, reappointments. To hear, consider, and act upon the following reappointments. Are you all okay if we take this as one item? Take this as one item. Fairfield Arts Commission, Charles P. McDonald, unaffiliated, 320 Old Mill Road, term 624 to 627. Matthew Ostreicher, who couldn't be here, unaffiliated, 70 Dunlea Road, term 624 to 627. And Christine Orlando, Democrat, 210 Rockland Road, term 624 to 627. May I have a motion? Okay, so would you like to introduce yourselves? Actually, with
The speaker's right
the
there.
speakers here, I wonder,
If you whisper, it picks it up.
The camera,
maybe because of the
go to the podium.
camera.
The camera's not. People want to see your face.
Yeah, maybe go up to the podium. Hopefully we
I
can.
thought we were off the podium when I didn't see it over there.
Yeah, I'm not sure which way the camera's actually pointing.
There.
Okay, okay, there we go. So you will be on.
Yeah. Might be a better chair for you here, Bill. Well, thank you for the reappointment. We appreciate that. We just started the work last year. It seems like, you know, and we did. We had 1-year terms. When the commission was set up, it was nine individuals, 3 years, 2 years, 1 year. It was done alphabetically to make things fair. So we're the first 3. We did talk to Matt at our last meeting. He wanted to be reappointed.
Yeah, and I think he's out of pocket today.
Yeah,
So
exactly. He's a very busy guy. He's the general manager with the shoe.
Right.
Christine has the
The Studio Fairfield. Sorry I was late. We have summer camps going on right now, so. But yeah, I'm very excited about being appointed for 3 more years.
And I'm the corporate secretary of the Fairfield Theater Company and a former chairman of the board at Operation Hope, so I have a lot of affiliation with the town. So I did the Solid Waste and Recycling Commission for a couple terms, and it's my new place to get back to the town that I love. Born here, I'm a transplant, but because after 40-some years, it counts. And we're looking for the public in general to get together with us. We have these quarterly get-togethers. We're getting feedback from the town, what they need from us. Folks that are in the arts, and you know, right now we're working on a cultural district. Uh-oh, I spoke too long. The chief is here, please.
well, the work you're doing is amazing, and Make Music Day was amazing, and we look forward to a lot of incredible work as we build out, you know, this concept, and I'd love to see some public art and things like that. And so
A lot of things, a lot of visions, and
Yeah.
you know, I'll never miss an opportunity when I see you or any of the 3 of you to say we need funding. So we missed this budget term, but we're gonna hit you hard next time.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
any comments from the board?
Yes, thank you for continuing to serve. Town really appreciates it.
Thank you, Brent.
Christine?
Thank you for continuing to serve. And I don't know if it's come up at your meetings, but when the commission was first formed, I had a couple of students reach out wondering if there was a student role on the commission. So maybe
That's actually something we're working on right now. We're gonna reach out to the high schools and just work with them. We have a lot of things in the planning stage. You know, we meet the third Tuesday of every month over at the old Independence Hall. We have a link to get on there if you wanna attend virtually, and the last part of the meeting is public comments. You listen to the public, what they want, what they need. And we do that at these various quarterly get-togethers in person, so.
Thank you. Cristiano, I think I told you my daughter used your studio for program, and it was very helpful for her mentally. Very, very good.
It's a big place.
Yeah.
Everyone is a part and stuff there.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Any comments?
let's vote. Wait, let us vote. Hit the vote.
We gonna vote?
Oh,
Yeah, any comments from the public?
I see the things, I get nervous now.
Comments from the public?
My next door neighbors are.
Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you
Congratulations.
so much.
thank you.
We will do.
Flood and Erosion Control Board, so the appointments. To hear, consider and act upon the following appointments. Flood and Erosion Control Board, Jonathan Dilly, unaffiliated, 50 Center Brook Place, term 11/21 to 11/26, and he's replacing Peter Wiswell, who resigned, and thank you, Peter, for your service over many years. May I have a motion?
Second.
Okay, John, would you like to introduce yourself?
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is John Dilley, and I'm a 25-year resident here in Fairfield. All three of my sons have gone through the local schools. The reason I'm interested in this is my family and my Jesuit education always kind of taught me about service over self and for others. So I've always had a specific interest in the environment when I studied law at Quinnipiac, and through my work with Connecticut Fund for the Environment while I was there in law school. This kind of turned into me volunteering with the River Lab program at Mill River Wetland Committee. And through MRWC, I've met a lot of people in town through conservation and the environmental groups, including attending Senator Huang's coastal resiliency forums in the last couple of years, which I thought were really interesting. And that kind of motivated me, along with the POCD effort and meeting Becky Bunnell around the upcoming project that's coming around coastal resiliency. And I think that if it's not a top priority for the town, it needs to be. So I think that I can bring kind of my business background, my legal background, my environmental background, and add to what we're going to do with the control board and the coastal resiliency. So I appreciate the opportunity, and I appreciate your support in advance.
Well, thanks for referring to the hopefully very soon to be presented RFP. You know, we're going to be putting out an RFP for the flood and erosion master plan that we've been working on with Becky and with David Murphy. John, I've known John for some years. He invited me to a couple of Mill River wetland condition walkthroughs for the river classroom, and they've just done a marvelous job, and you know, been a champion for the Sturgis properties, which we will hopefully be able to complete that deal and grow that program. And I just really thank you for all your work on Mill River. Any other comments?
Thank you for serving. I think you're going to be perfect for this, and we're so happy to hear that you're willing to serve. Great asset to our town.
I think we need. Do you know that everyone has an opinion, and you're going to have to about what to build and how to build?
That's why we got to get involved.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, if it's not a top priority, there's a lot of top priorities in town, right?
Yeah.
But if it's not a top priority, I think our grand list, and I think a lot of things inside of our town are going to be degraded if we don't address this. So I think by getting some professionals in here who understand what's going on and the type of coastal resiliency that we learned a little bit about during these forums, and getting together as a town and figuring it out, not project by project. There needs to be a master plan.
Any other comments from the board?
Former Mill River Lab captain.
Thank you.
Many years ago.
That's how I got.
Driving the band?
It was a lot of fun.
We did I think 2,500 kids or 2,000 kids here in the spring through the program, and 1,500 in the fall. So it's going strong, and we're really excited.
Thanks for stepping up. I'm sure you'll be awesome.
Any comments from the public? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Thank you so much, John, for stepping up. Oh, was there?
No.
Oh, okay. To hear, consider and act upon the following appointments. Sustainable Fairfield Task Force, Dr. Yaniv Chen, Democrat, 263 Queens Grant Road. There's no term for the task force. And Dr. Chen is treating patients today, and he couldn't be here, but he's got a great reputation. And Mary Hogue is really hoping. I think they have a maximum of 20. They only have 14 now, trying to build back up the Sustainable Fairfield Task Force. So even though he couldn't make it, I'd love to vote on him today. Okay. Any comments from? Okay. Any comments from the public? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Congratulations, Yaniv. I'm looking forward to meeting. To hear, consider, and act upon the following appointment: Water Pollution Control Authority, Alyssa D. Kent, Democrat, 186 White Oak Road, term 1121 to 1125, to replace Tom McCarthy, Republican who resigned. Thank you, Tom, for your service. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Alyssa.
Hi, thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm a 16-year resident of Fairfield. I moved here as a young unmarried woman and have stayed and now have 3 kids in the public school system. And really am passionate about this lovely town that we live in, and had over time have involved myself in Ed, town planning and zoning, affordable housing committee, as well as being a coach in town, a PTA, leader or advocate, and really feel like I bring a holistic view of what it is to be in Fairfield from a number of different aspects right now. I'm trained as an architect. I spent most of my career in real estate development, developing multi-family housing and mixed-use projects in our Connecticut cities, primarily Norwalk, Hartford, and New Haven, and have sat before many water pollution control authority boards for proposed projects. I also sit on 2 other nonprofit boards, so I understand what it means to work as a group and as part of a team that delivers on projects and budgets and things of the like. Just really excited to use my expertise and understanding of our town to really protect the prosperity of our town's resources, our infrastructure, to sustain economic and environmental resiliency, going forward. I know there's a lot of big projects planned. I've talked to Matt McKeesey to get a little bit of understanding of what the next year, at least, for the term of the position looks like.
I am too. I mean, you're, well, Matt was looking for a developer. He has, Chris Steiner develops homes, and he's on the authority, and your expertise as a developer of larger projects. Although I see you haven't really done any in Fairfield. The only thing I could find that your firm did in Fairfield was the sort of remodeling of the Hi-Ho and the Circle Hotel. But your expertise, I mean, there have been, from what I understand, very good members of the authority in the past who were development people. Rob Cinto, for example, one of the large developers in the state of Connecticut, was on that board, and got really good reviews from the people I've talked to. So I hope that you acknowledge the work. I think I got some emails of concern because you do mixed use development. I think there's a little bit of a misconception about what this role is, and that it's not town planning and zoning, that really you're making sure that we have appropriate sewers in place, that we don't, a lot of it is, safety at the plants, and also getting rid of infiltration. I mean, we're spending a lot of money on our sewer system, so it's really important to have professionals who understand this kind of thing. And so thank you for stepping up. Any other comments?
I currently serve on the WPCA. Right now it's me and a bunch of very nice gentlemen. So I look forward to welcoming you, just to make it a little more diverse. I think your experience asset. I know, just still learning about this, and I find that Chris, Mr. Steiner, I value his perspective in the work that we do. I think that your experience will be very valuable, and I think that it is not a town planning and zoning. We're not making decisions about whether or not this project is right for town. We're looking basically as whether or not what the impact a potential project is going to have on our sewer system. And do you feel like you can separate the two in terms of like your professional experience and just focusing on that aspect of?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I come as an environmentalist, I come as a developer, I come as a mom, as a resident. So, I fully am capable of making decisions that, pull my perspective as a developer, of course, any personal or professional interests out of that. But I think part of the reason it brought to the board is to understand the realistic nature of development, whether it's a single family home, a school, what our needs are in the town, or some of the multifamily projects that have come before us, and what that means when considering the board. And obviously the committee or the commission has a very narrow set of approvals when it comes to projects coming forth, and it's obviously an important part of the commission, but I would think that the strategic planning and infrastructure management is a bigger part of the role and the focus. But absolutely, yes, I can fully pull myself out of any professional interests.
And what I've had the pleasure of having Alyssa come in front of me when I was serving on the Board of Education many times, and have always been impressed by her love of Fairfield, her willing to look at the big picture. She brings a lot of knowledge to whatever conversation she is a part of, and really just a commitment of making Fairfield a resilient and safe and wonderful place to raise a family. So we're just supporting you.
So you obviously have a lot of experience. And I'm looking through your resume. You actually worked for Becker and Becker Associates.
Yeah, right here.
And Spinnaker, where my son actually lives in one of the Spinnaker buildings in South Norwalk, and I have to say it was a he loves it.
Well, he knows who to call it.
However, we did receive, and I'm sure you're lovely, and you do have a lot of experience. I'm not concerned really about that. I personally have asked for maybe a handful of appointments over many appointments, and I had asked for our former selectman who served on the WPCA for a really long time, and I know there's been a lot of turnover on the WPCA, and I thought to have somebody with that historical perspective from many years to be able to be there, because the WPCA is very unique. Of all our boards, it has taxing authority, and it can tax and tax a lot. And we have massive projects coming down the pike, and so I am nothing against you. I'm just going to abstain from this vote because I had asked in my very rare time that I did ask for an appointment, and I wish you luck.
Any comments from the public? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Again, abstention. One abstention. Okay.
Yes, that's for you.
Sure.
David,
FairTV.
yeah, David needs to leave.
So number 4.
Can we move item number 14 up to be next, so that David can get his piece done and not, he has to leave the Zoom room.
Yeah.
Okay, have a motion to move item 14. Okay, item 14 is next. Oh, all in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, item 14. David, are you still on?
I am.
Okay, yeah, hi.
Hi,
Okay,
thank you.
FairTV Commission to hear, consider, and act upon the following resolution as recommended by the FairTV Commission. Resolved that William A. Gerber, first selectman of the town of Fairfield, is empowered to execute, authorize, and approve on behalf of the town of Fairfield a professional services contractor agreement between the town of Fairfield, Sullivan Independence Hall, 725 Old Post Road, Fairfield, Connecticut, or town, and Luke Altieri with an office at 42 Wilshire Boulevard, Milford, Connecticut, 06460, contractor for professional technical services supporting the town's government and education television stations known as FairTV broadcast system, FairTV, for a period of 1 year commencing June 30th, 2024 and terminating July 1st, 2025. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, David.
Would you like me to make a statement, Bill, or just answer questions?
Sure. I have no questions. Do you want to say something in support of renewing this?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And my apologies. I just had to get off in about 20 minutes and wasn't sure where I was going to fall. I know everybody probably finds themselves in these predicaments, but yeah, I've been as the chairman of the FairTV Commission for a little over a year now, and a proud reappointment. I've had the pleasure, along with the fellow commissioners, of bringing Luke Altieri on of a year ago, right at this time, to replace Jerry Spino, who, as probably everybody knows, served the town very dutifully and very long in really establishing FairTV. Luke jumped right into the role. He interestingly works for the Board of Ed in technical computer services. But most importantly, he jumped right into the role in upgrading significantly our presence on YouTube, being very diligent about, grant money for the Zoom rooms, and really just handling a myriad of technical issues, some of which had just sort of built up over the last few months prior to his arrival. He's honestly performed beyond expectation, and we think we are incredibly lucky to have him because essentially he has a day job, if you will, but always makes time for FairTV, attends a lot of the meetings, helps us save money, and candidly comes to us at a cost, at an overall cost significantly lower than his predecessor, but not as to compare them, just as a point of reference. We are very pleased to have Luke and think that he should, certainly continue in this role as long as, hopefully he wants to. And of course, we want him.
I've heard nothing but great things about Luke. He seems very enthusiastic and he's really accessible. And as well as you, David, nothing but great things to say about you. And just get this plug in. I think we need somebody for your commission, right? So, but when Will Ferguson sat down to be on, So please apply for this. I'm saying to the public, please apply for this. Any comments? Yeah.
I met Luke, actually. I was in the Board of Ed to Meg Brown, the superintendent's lifeline, administrative assistant, and I met Luke there and shared some concerns about that I had just heard from members of the public about FairTV, like the switch to the Zoom room, some of the sound issues, and the angles were a little bit different, and watching Cablevision, I think, is not as clear as watching on YouTube. So that's also a plug for anybody listening. If you watch FairTV, watch it, not through Cablevision. And, just casual conversation. And Luke emailed me like that night, basically, telling me that he was, if there's any questions, reach out anytime with concerns. I was really just really impressed that he went that extra mile to address any concerns I have, share information, really being an advocate for FairTV and looking at new ways and new funding sources to improve this very important service for our town. So happy to support him.
Yeah. Okay, good. Any comments from the public? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you so much, David.
Thank you very much, all. Appreciate it.
We are now, done voting. We're on number 7, Water Pollution Control Facility Superintendent. To hear, consider, and act on approving an agreement between the Town of Fairfield Water Pollution Control Authority and Sunbelt Rentals, Inc. for a backup diesel pump for diesel pump rental for a period of at least 30 days. Is John on?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I
Yeah.
want to ask for.
Oh, may I have a motion?
So moved.
All right. John?
Yes, this is for Center Street Pump Station. It is a 2-pump station. On April 2nd, we had a pump fail. Our crew removed the pump, installed the spare. We sent the pump out for repair. They said 4 to 6 weeks for parts. On May 23rd, another pump failed, so we were down to 1 pump with no spare. So we called Sunbelt, we called the other rental company whose name escapes me right now, to see if we can get a pump to back up the 1 pump that we had. Sunbelt was able to deliver one. They delivered it on May 24th with all the hoses and controls we needed to cover us for the Memorial Day weekend. These pumps are from circa 1999, so the repair parts have to be made. We're anticipating the parts to be shipped the first week of July. So once we get the pumps that are now not working repaired, we hope to get those 2 installed and get this pump back to Sunbelt. But it looks like we've already had it a month. It looks like another month is on the books or coming.
So John, did I read correctly that the 1-month rental is $3,186?
1 month rental for the pump itself is $2,500. And then all the pumps, all the hoses are there's a rental fee. There's 6-inch hoses that we rented at $180, which comes out to $180.
Okay.
And then there's a delivery fee and the control fee and all that stuff.
I was just wondering, like, can you buy a new one? Is that even, how much would a new one cost?
We were looking at a 4-inch standby pump, and those are almost $100,000.
Okay.
And this is a 6-inch, and it's
So it's cheaper to fix the other 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. That was my only question.
So the pump is already in place, so, and this is under 10,000, so why are we approving this? Why is this on the agenda?
That's
the first rental was for 30 days, so now it's gonna probably be at least another month, so we're going over the 30-day contract type
so
language.
we should have had a renewal.
Less than 10,000.
Yeah, it would have been helpful to have a renewal agreement. You could have renewed this without coming back to us. I wonder, can we
Amend this to add.
yeah, can we,
Well, it's-
the town attorney's not here, but you know what, John, I would just go ahead and vote for it, and you know, maybe we can get the town attorney to propose an amendment to the lease in case we need it for longer.
This is at least 30 days, so that implies.
Oh, at least 30 days, so, okay,
If it goes longer, then I think.
right. So now we're covered, John, if we go over 30 days and you don't have to come back, right?
That's my hope.
Okay, all right. Any other comments? Any comments from the public? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Okay, thank you, John. You have
You're
your,
welcome.
it's the kind of scary that both our pumps broke. Okay, item B, to hear, consider, and act on approving an agreement between the town of Fairfield Water Pollution Control Authority and Wright Pierce to provide engineering services for various assignments on an ongoing or on-call basis. This includes assistance in the review and evaluation of new sewer connection applications. May I have a motion?
So moved. Can I ask, is there, I'm looking at the backup. Is there a cost associated with this?
With the, no, that was my question as well. I couldn't find one.
It's gonna be charged on an hourly basis per the on-call bid that went out, and I don't have the number, but we got them off the on-call bid from 2023. So whatever work they're doing is gonna be billed hourly.
Oh, so we have a negotiated hourly rate?
That's my understanding in the bid, yes.
You don't know what that bid is or how much?
I could tell you it is. I got it here somewhere. Bid number 2023-02.
Much.
Do you have the schedule, or can you just give us?
We don't have those documents, John.
What documents are you looking for?
Well, you just gave a bid number, but it's not as if we have something that has that number with a price.
No, that was not submitted.
All right, so, I mean, I don't feel comfortable. I don't know how much this even is, and
Yeah, I agree. Hey, John, I don't think we, unless you have the terms, like the price, I'm sure we can prove it.
we can do a special meeting just on Zoom or something quick if we
Yeah.
get the right, I don't wanna hold them up, but we
Yeah.
should probably get the right information.
Yeah, I
Can
agree.
we table this and try is purchasing? Can we get it from purchasing for this meeting? And take it out?
Hey, John,
Yeah.
if we table this till the end, you wanna call Adam and see if you can get the information? Adam's on vacation. And you would be the next person to call.
This
Yes,
is-
above
this
your pay
is-
grade.
Maybe we can do a quick special meeting. What do you think? Okay,
This
okay.
is for new
I'm happy to do
projects
that.
coming
I
in,
mean,
I
so.
just don't wanna approve something.
No, I
have
agree
no
with
idea
you.
what it
Yeah,
costs.
no, that jumped out. Yeah, I'm sorry, John, what did you say?
This is for new projects, for new development, for people that want to connect. So it's not like there's something pressing right now that we need it for, so we can
Okay.
do it.
Yeah, so we'll need the
Next meeting.
the pricing as part of the agreement. And yeah, okay, good.
Okay.
Thank you. So motion to table this to, I don't know, why don't we, if there's no rush, why don't we,
When is the next
Do it
one?
without a date,
Do it
sir.
then.
Yeah,
Okay.
just say without a date certain.
motion to table this to the next Board of Selectmen meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you very much, John.
Thank you.
Item number 8. Item number 8, Engineering Department, Eli Gazal will be presenting. To hear, consider, and act on approving an agreement between the Town of Fairfield and Weston and Sampson Engineers to provide a response to comments from the US EPA on the investigation of the former aggregate reclamation facility site. Have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Eli, are you on? Yeah, there we go.
Yep, I'm on. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Perfect. So this is for Weston Sampson Malcolm, specifically our licensed environmental professional that has been dealing with bill pile to continue to negotiate with EPA and DEP. Right now, we are negotiating what to sample. So they have sent comments back to our proposal. So this proposal that's in front of you now is actually for Malcolm to respond to those comments.
And this, in some ways, I mean, this is similar, is that this is an approval to, we have the money allocated we have it reserved, but that they provide quotes for individual things that they need to do over a certain period of time, and you approve those tasks. And each, it's not an hourly rate, right? It is a task-driven, proposal.
Yeah, due to the fact that we don't know which direction this is going right now, EPA lags a little bit with their responses. So it is by the next task. So right now, this task is just to respond to their last comments. And hope.
And you and I talked about this. This is the way it's been working throughout, right?
Correct.
This is driven by
EPA comment.
and EPA. And it says here on the third page, 42,500. They're a very good company.
Yeah.
And they've been doing a great job. It just takes a really long time because the regulating agencies keep asking for more and more and more testing. I mean, I can't tell you how many times we've tested that thing.
Yep.
I was going to add one thing, if it's possible, Bill, maybe amend the wording of this to allow Weston Sampson to continue working on the pile without every task coming back to the board, if possible.
Hey, Eli, it's hard to hear you. Is there any way?
I think he's asking, I think you would have to ask the town attorney. He's asking if they can continue to move forward with Weston and Sampson without having to return back to the board all the time. And I think that's probably a question you need the town attorney.
I think I did ask the town attorney this, and he said yes.
I'm
So
perfectly fine, they're a great company.
yeah, so this board is, are you asking for an amendment, Eli? And if so, can you say it loud enough that I can hear you? Because
Yeah,
there's something a little faulty with your speaker.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, if possible, we can amend the wording to say something along the lines that, the board authorizes Weston Sampson to continue with future proposals. Just specifically due to the fill pile.
Eli, just for everyone's edification, this money's coming out of the fill pile fund, correct?
That is correct.
The board authorizes the town of Fairfield to approve proposals for work on an ongoing basis.
Sure. Or this proposal and future proposals. That would
I couldn't hear you. What?
This proposal and future proposals.
Oh, to approve this. And
I mean, as long as it doesn't exceed the amount in the fill pile fund, and I would also, obviously, wouldn't be able to do that, but I think it would be helpful just if you could include in your next newsletter a comprehensive update about what's happening, what the current status is.
yeah,
Because I know people, tend to forget that we still have this massive problem.
that will be
Yeah.
a short conversation.
It'll just be
unfortunately.
helpful.
Yeah, because not a lot has happened, but yeah.
Well, just that we just approve this and whatever EPA is asking us for, that kind of stuff. It's just EPA, right, Eli? It's not DEP anymore
Yeah,
It's both.
on this one, though?
but right now it's just EPA, right?
This is to respond to the EPA.
Eli, can you listen to this? The board authorizes the town of Fairfield to approve this and future proposals without exceeding the balance of the reserve set aside for this purpose.
That's good. Sounds
Okay.
Thank you.
Is that
You
okay?
want to add other regulatory agencies besides the EPA to this also? Does it matter?
Compliance
I don't-
with regulating need.
It has to do with,
Well, this is in particular, for this purpose would be the EPA.
Are we using Weston Sampson for
Yeah.
DEP also?
Yeah, it's one firm that is mainly dealing with EPA. DEEP has been off to the side, they're really following EPA's lead right now.
Okay.
Yeah, so. Proposal without, for this. Yeah, I mean, with that, the way I worded it,
I just don't want him to have to come back because provide response to comments from the US EPA. And other,
okay, and other regulatory agencies.
yeah,
or fill pile related proposals.
Okay, yeah. And with that, and future fill pile related proposals. All right, so let's, that would be provide response to comments. The board authorizes the town of Fairfield to approve this and future fill pile related proposals without exceeding the balance of the reserves set aside for this purpose. Good.
Good.
You want me to read it again? or-
Yeah.
Okay,
So you want me to?
can I make a motion to include that amendment?
amendment.
Okay, any comments from the public? Not seeing any, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, Eli, unanimous.
No, that was the
That was the
amendment.
amendment, now we.
Oh, that was the amendment, okay.
So.
So, do you need me to read it again with the amendment?
No.
Okay,
The item as amended.
we're going to approve the item as amended. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any comments? Any comments from the public? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Unanimous, thank you, Eli.
Thank you very much.
Item number 9, John Cattell's here to present, I believe. The Assistant Department of Public Works Director to hear, consider, and act on approving an agreement between the town of Fairfield and the United Illuminating Company for demand response program related to the electric vehicle chargers at the John J. Sullivan Independence Hall. If approved, the town's building manager is hereby authorized to sign the agreement and manage the program. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, John.
So this is a low response program related to our charging stations. We have 20 chargers located here on site. And then basically this allows UI to say, do not charge during the hours from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock if it is approaching a peak critical condition. For this, for 4 months from June through September, $10 per month per charger. So when you add that all up, it's like $800 that UI will pay. The town is already doing this and went a step beyond. These chargers are programmable, and our IT has programmed them not to charge until 10 o'clock at night anyway, so that they're not on a peak time. It's something that we're doing already. It doesn't change anything for us, and we received funds that helped install these chargers from UI, which kind of also gives us people. So I'm happy to.
Any comments or questions? Okay. Any comments from the public? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, John.
Thank you very much.
Bless you.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Item number 10, Mark Barnhart's here, Community and Economic Development Director. Bless you.
Thank you.
I think I will read this. To hear, consider, and act upon a proposed lease extension between the town of Fairfield and Inwood Equities Fairfield LLC for 10 parking spaces on Carter Henry Drive for a term of 2 years, commencing October 1st, 2024 and ending on September 30th, 2026, and authorizing the first selectman, William Gerber, to execute said lease extension. B, to hear, consider, and act on a proposed lease extension between the town of Fairfield and Fairfield University for 38 parking spaces on Carter Henry Drive for a term of 2 years, commencing August 1st, 2024 and ending July 31st, 2026, and to authorize the first selectman, William A. Gerber, to execute said lease extension, and to hear, consider, and act upon a proposed lease extension between the town of Fairfield and Heritage Square LLC for 45 parking spaces on Carter Henry Drive for a term of 2 years, commencing September 1st, 2024 and ending on August 31st, 2026, and to authorize William Gerber to execute said lease extension. May I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Mark.
So this is a proposed extension of an existing lease for parking spaces on Carter Henry Drive, 3 budding property owners. Same terms and conditions as what's agreed to, with the exception of a modest increase in rent. Each year, which is
Any questions from the board?
The costs, Mark, are listed here on item number 3.
Yeah, so it's a 3% increase, so currently they're paying $490 per space, increasing to $505 per space in 6.
Figures 18,006, 19,019.
Yeah, so it works out to, on a monthly basis, that number. Annualized basis, it's about, well, it's about 45,000.
Any of them asked for additional spaces aside from?
We don't have any additional spaces to provide.
Okay.
I'm sure they would ask. We do have downtown employee parking spaces, which is a slightly lower rate, but they're shared parking spaces, first come, first served. So the difference here is that these are for the exclusive use of those tenants and their patrons. Supply.
Any other comments, questions? Any comments from the public? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Item number 11, HR Assistant Director Peter Ritchie is there he is. Okay, Human Resources, to hear, consider, and approve an agreement between the town of Fairfield and Voya for stop loss insurance renewal to take effect as of July 1st, 2024. May I have a motion?
Second.
Okay, Peter.
So just to give a little bit more context then to it, we're requesting approval from Human Resources for this 1-year renewal. This is with Voya. This is our 2nd year of the contract with them for the stop loss insurance. And for those that are not maybe familiar with stop loss insurance, this helps protect the town for those more significant or catastrophic sort of medical events that might occur for either active employees that are currently benefits eligible or retirees for that matter, prior to them moving into Medicare. In terms of the projected costs, the annual premium is approximately $200,000. It's $199,300, and then the estimated annual deductible is really where the liability exists, which could run as high as it's estimated currently at $2.4 million. So it's a pretty significant number. But the actual premium is $199,300. Question? I'm sorry. Yeah, I got a question.
Wait, you gotta let us talk.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, I have a question. How's this how does this compare to how's the renewal compared to the old?
So it's actually an 18% increase year over year.
Yeah.
Now, there were other options that were presented by Voya, which actually were slightly less on the actual premium side. However, once you work into that, which would have basically lowered the cost on a per head basis for those eligible participants. However, it would also therefore then increase, because what they're doing is effectively raising that stop loss threshold from $150,000. That's when our liability kicks, or we have the liability up to that point, by giving us a lesser cost per participant, but they would raise that stop loss to $160,000 or $170,000. Well, in doing so, you actually now will potentially increase your estimated deductible cost from 2.4 million. The next level up would potentially have liability at 2.56 million. And then if we went to the next loss level of 170,000, it's 2.72 million. So you can save a little bit on a per head basis, but your estimated loss could rise dramatically from a deductible standpoint.
So it really depends. The cost depends on how you model it. It's the actual loss. And
as with any of these kinds of projections, exactly, it's modeled with assumptions and certain qualifiers and boundaries that we put in place as far as what we expect, but sometimes the unexpected happens, pandemic or things of that nature. So lots of factors involved, but that's the request.
Any questions?
What bucket of money is coming out of?
Well, this is
HR.
Yeah, this
Right.
is renewal. Yeah.
Right, but we budgeted this in the HR budget?
Yeah. I mean, this is part of their budget.
Okay.
This is a renewal, so there was a plan for the budget already from last year or fiscal year 24 to 25.
Gotcha. Okay, great, thank you.
Any other comment? Any comments from the public?
Just a question. This is like catastrophe insurance, right?
It basically tries to limit the town's financial exposure for, unfortunately, when one of our eligible participants has significant medical costs associated with their insurance. So once they hit we know as the town have called direct responsibility for $150,000 of somebody's catastrophic or significant medical expenses. But if they exceed that amount, and sadly that can happen, as we all know, the cost of insurance and medical processes, et cetera. Above that, we're just trying to mitigate that risk on behalf of the town. So this is a typical insurance strategy to recognize that anything above that, we want to try and minimize that for the town. So we pay a little bit on a per hit basis, but we're trying to mitigate or minimize the significant impact that could happen. There are approximately 16, 17 people that are projected to be in that category. It's not a big number, but any one person can drive the numbers very high. And if we raise that threshold to 160, 170,000, now that might bring in other people into that mix. And so it's a very challenging modeling process done by professionals, not done by not that our HR team isn't professional, but these are subject matter experts in this space. We use Aon for our consulting, which the board's heard a lot about in the past, they help us through the analyses and all the modeling from that standpoint. So, thank you.
I'd say you're a very special person, because normally we don't allow Q&A during these meetings, but
oh, sorry.
Okay. But it's good. I think that was a really good question. And also the stop loss insurers, they look at our benefits, and they, we can't go outside of what we normally provide, through our benefits, because if we do, we could get in trouble on stop loss, right? So, we have to stick with what we've given them, and which I think at times has been challenging. So
we have to be mindful of other treatment and things like that. So we're very, very conscious of all those stuff.
Any other comment? None. Any comments? Oh, I already asked for public comment. Any other public comment? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you very much, Peter. And I think you have another one. Yep. Item number 12, again, Peter Ritchie, Human Resources, to hear, consider, and act on authorizing a master service agreement between Strategic Government Resources, Inc. and the Town of Fairfield Human Resources Department for engaging on professional recruiting services in order to identify and to qualify applicants for filling various roles in response to town administration's needs. This approval includes the authorization to enter into renewals on similar terms and conditions. May I have a motion?
Second.
Okay, Peter.
Great. So you actually touched upon this earlier in the meeting, open comment. We do in the human resources area have from time to time a need to fill some critical or strategic level roles or significant roles in support of town administration. You talked about the chief fiscal officer. And so we've done business with SGR, as we refer to them, in the past. They actually placed the Director of Human Resources, Kathleen Simpson, the Director of Conservation, Tim Bishop, and Frank Magneri, our Director of Budget. Woman Kupchik is familiar with them as well. They have supported us through those placements during that time. Well, we seek to engage them again. They have a very extensive sourcing and vetting or qualifying process, and it's going to help expand our search. We've been doing a lot, as many of you might be aware, here locally or regionally for CFO applicants, and we even had some declines. And so we just feel like we need to go that extra mile and really do what we can on behalf of the town.
Yeah, I mean, we had 19 applicants. We made one offer. We were prepared to make a second. Of the 19, really, that was really the ones that, you know, would have been a good fit. Didn't work out. Opened it back up again. We have another 12 or so, about a dozen.
Actually, yeah, we're up to about another 5 or 6.
Oh.
Came in, but yep.
Okay. But we, you know, we're seeing a lot of like fund managers and, you know, people who, we need someone that can come in that has municipal experience, that can jump in and really take command of this. It's not an easy role, and it has to be someone who's not political. So hopefully someone who doesn't live anywhere near. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't limit it that much, but hopefully it's, we are looking for someone that can be here for the next 20 years if they're, you know, so inclined. And it's been really tough. And I think, you know, in the past, it was probably tough when Selectwoman Kupchak was looking. It's tough. And I don't want to compromise on this because we do have Caitlin Bossy, we do have Frank McNary, and we do David Becker has been working as interim CFO. And I think for the benefit of the town, we got to find the right person who could be here a long time, and haven't found that person yet, or at least the one I did, you know, 2 we found declined. So this is where we are. In the meantime, we will interview people that have applied once it was opened up again. Yeah.
So it says June 24th on this letter, so we're just engaging them now?
We've had some discussions with them, but we wanted to sort of qualify the search more accurately, and there's been various discussions going on relative to work structure and things of that nature. So I started the conversation about a month and a half ago, but we also recognized the nature of that role may shift or look different, and we want to make sure we're tight when we give them the statement of work as far as what we're looking for, the credentials, the qualifications, et cetera. We had an initial applicant that we had referenced that we offered and declined, but now various changes in org structure, operations officer, et cetera, that may in fact impact how we structure things on that side, but that's speculative. But we didn't want to engage on something and then have to redirect halfway through or partially through.
Right, I mean, obviously, I know the first selectman makes this call because he's the CEO, but I just feel like 7 months without a CFO has been, you know, obviously been difficult for people like Craig McNary, who were doing the majority of this work. And I just feel like a town of our size, we should have went out earlier.
I would have liked to, yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
They did a great job for the town. Obviously, the HR department is familiar that they were able to really get us some really top level candidates to be able to choose from for important positions. And I think they're a wonderful company. I think they do amazing work, and I wish we had just pulled the trigger on this much earlier.
But and I agree. It would have been, I would have preferred to have gone out earlier. It was more complicated than I expected, but but as you know, Caitlin Bossy, who was both controller and CFO for 9 months, you know, we've got a rock solid group there, and David Becker acting as interim. We have what you had during that difficult period, and more. So it's not like, you know, I haven't had, you know, any concerns, and I haven't heard any concerns about how the finance department's been managed, because it's essentially the same group plus, you know, plus David. So that's why I feel comfortable, you know, holding out. Like, I don't want to settle on this position because I think it's so fundamental for the future of the town.
I agree, and you know, I mean, listen, it's a very important position. We have a very large budget, and you know, hearing that we had issues with our payroll a month or so ago where we almost weren't able to make payroll for 500 employees.
That's not true. That is not true. I don't know where you heard that from. That's blatant falsehood. So I wouldn't believe everything you hear, but I had to stop that. Totally not true. Not even close. Yeah, go ahead.
So for approving this, I know that we are for a CFO search. If we should need to use this service for other positions, by approving this today, you basically have the latitude to use it for future.
Yes.
Did you have to go out? This wasn't out to bid, these services, was it?
No, we have an agreement with them, and they did a really great job. Yeah.
I mean, due to the cost that we spend per hire, we may have to based on the cost of it. It's not.
I just asked because when we did superintendent searches, we had to go out to bid for the search firm.
I mean, we ran it by Adam and the town attorney, and
Okay.
yeah, it was
They
just.
are really great. I mean, people through the ringer. I mean, they search and then they interview them. They get video interviews. It's very comprehensive, and administration gets to watch all of it and really make it. So it's good, and they get top level people who have the skills.
Yeah, the results have been great. Okay, any other comments?
No.
Any comments from the public? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Peter. So you are good.
No, one.
There's one more.
Oh, you have one? Yes, this is a very important one, thank you. Item number 13, Peter Ritchie presenting Human Resources to hear, consider, and act on authorizing a non-disclosure agreement between Paycom Payroll LLC, Paycom, and the Town of Fairfield Human Resources Department for access to information in line with the system evaluation of Paycom's payroll application in potentially addressing town administration needs. May I have a motion? Okay, Peter.
Great, thank you. So this is very similar to a request we had made of a couple months back, I probably remember that date, where we had a non-disclosure agreement approved for Kronos, which was part of our time and attendance evaluation process that I've been under since been working through since I joined the HR team here. At this point, we actually started hearing various things through our review process. And the review committee wasn't just human resources. I'm excited to tell you it was Parks and Rec, it was library, it was DPW, finance partners, really involved a lot of different key stakeholders in this process to evaluate time and attendance. But we now are starting to look at the possibility of a more broad application relative to the payroll space. And it's been well discussed or documented as far as our payroll issues that we've had in terms of that processing pieces of it, the complicated, the lack of control, various elements that go into any sort of major changes that we need to do, for example, fiscal year end or beginning that I can personally speak to. So we really feel as though we want to invite Paycom in at the technology level to be able to have those discussions, but they request, and it happens, we understand it, similar to the Kronos discussion. They have very specialized intellectual property and systems and technologies that they want to make sure that we're going to protect the confidentiality of that. We respect that, and we'll abide by those requirements. It's a fairly commonplace concept when you get into that kind of a significant technology. But this will allow, your approval will allow the Dave Kelly and his IT team to be able to talk directly with Paycom about those kind of technology elements, which are out of my realm of capabilities. So
Their application is, like you said, it does what Kronos would do plus all of the other payroll functions. It's embedded in their program. Any comment? No, this is just there's no
NDA, a non-disclosure
Okay,
agreement
got it.
saying, don't share what you learn outside of our
got it.
small world.
so similar to what.
It's not a cost.
There's no cost
No,
associated.
no, it's just an agreement, yeah.
Something that's.
But you signed one for Kronos, the board signed one
The
for
board
Kronos
approved
as
it
well.
for Kronos,
Yeah.
I believe it was about 2-3 months ago.
Yeah. Any comments, questions? Any from the public? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Okay, now you're done. Thank you. And
Thank you very much.
thank you, Peter. Thank you very much. And item 14 we've done, so we are on item number 15. The police chief is here to hear, consider, and act on an agreement between the town of Fairfield Police Department and Flock Safety for equipment, consulting, annual support, upgrades, and hosting for a term of July 2024 to June 2025. The approval includes the authorization for the Fairfield Police Department to enter into renewals with Flock Safety for similar terms and conditions. May I have a motion?
Second.
Okay, chief.
So we're seeking approval for the following contract with Flock Safety. Flock Safety is an all-in-one technology solution that combines the power of artificial intelligence that connects cities, schools, and law enforcement agencies. Software and hardware is a full-service technology solution that is trusted by more than 3,700 communities across the country to help solve and deter crime. The system is scalable, allowing the police department to visualize our real-time crime information operation with surrounding agencies and saving costs and expanding platform also collaborates with the Fairfield Police Department's Axon body-worn camera system and dash cams, hardware, software, and maintenance across audio, video, and the town's community streaming services. If you remember, last year we implemented the Safe Corridors to School system. That program has been very successful. Recently, they have approved the ARPA funding for the expansion of that, and this is to augment that program as well.
And 10,000, chief.
Any comments from the board? Questions?
Whatever helps keep us safe. Yeah. All for it.
This is something I assume you don't want to talk too much about.
I tried to put together a statement so that, I mean, if you want to talk more about it, I can elaborate if you have any questions.
I have done. Any comments from the public? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, chief.
Thank you. Likewise.
Item number 16, refunds tax collector. To consider and act upon tax refunds as recommended by the tax collector in the amount of $7,929.26. May I have a motion? So any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none. From the public? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, approved. Minutes, number 17, to consider and act upon the minutes of May 29th, 2024. May I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Any questions, comments from the board? Any comments from the public? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Would you like to add?
I'd like to make a motion
make
for
a
open board
motion.
discussion.
Okay,
You know I'm gonna do it every
yeah.
meeting.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
I would like to ask us to, I would first like to say, can we please reinstate this? I think that we should also add, I mean, I know we had it forever and ever, the open board discussion, but I remember under First Selectman Flato, before it was him and Audley, but they used to have after their open board offer public comment. So if people read something or want to just share an opinion about something they read or something they saw, because I feel like our meetings are not as engaging for the community, for them to be able to talk about issues with us. Public format. So I'd like to ask to reinstate it, because I even asked for a couple of items to be on the agenda. I'd asked for an update on CFO process, and I had asked for information to be included about pay for the COO and all the related positions to be included, so that public could know how much that's being paid and all the related things for that position, things like that. And I would like to talk about some other things during other open board discussions that might come up. And
Can you put them, I mean, I think we put the CFO process on, the COO,
but I'd like to talk about, like, are we going to, is there an opportunity for us to add that back to our discussions?
Which one, the open?
Open board discussion and potentially adding open board comment. And I remember when Ken Flato used to do it, maybe even the others, there was no give and take, like the public would speak and that would be it. There was no like.
But you didn't have that, right?
No, I don't think Mike Tetro had it at all.
I don't think.
But I remember.
I don't remember it.
I just did exactly what was prior to me as far as agendas. But when we had the discussion, I recalled that from back in my early days on the RTM when we used to come here. There would be open board discussion.
Well, I'm not in favor of open public discussion because I think we need to have town halls for those. I mean, that would be like a town hall type thing, and maybe we hold some sort of town hall, or I can't, but you know, the public should be, in my opinion, I've never seen, and this is before my time, I've never seen sort of a random sort of get up and talk about whatever you want to at a.
Well, it was a 2-minute, and I actually thought it was helpful because I was, you know, back in the on the RTM, or even before that, when I started an education group, we would want to come and say something at the end. I mean, Judy Ewing used to get up literally every meeting at the end and say something. And actually, I always thought it was helpful because she would bring up things that maybe you hadn't thought about, the public hadn't thought about, or the board hadn't thought about. I just think it makes.
I mean, it's an idea, but since you didn't do it, you.
Well, I didn't even remember it.
Yeah,
When Dean brought it up.
yeah,
I forgot about
Yeah.
that. Forgive me for my age, forgetting.
You're younger than me.
I know.
You know you're.
No, I don't know. I don't know if I am. Maybe I'm not. But I just think it makes, listen, the Board of Selectmen always was this, listen, we're this colonial town with, you know, our old time traditions, our antiquated RTM, our antiquated Board of Selectmen, right? But at the same time, it allows, like this gentleman was allowed to ask a question. It's really not in the rules, right? We're not allowed to allow that happen, but say, for example, we had open board discussion at the end. He could have come up and say, hey, you know, during your item, whatever, I was interested to know more about this, or I'd like to know more about that. And so I just think it makes us more user-friendly. It makes us more community-centric. I mean, having a town hall, I mean, people are gonna come out. But if there is something that happened within the 2-week period of our meetings, I can't see a reason why we wouldn't do it. It's not like there's gonna be, you know, a gaggle of people standing here, you know, to just go off on every little thing. But I just think it's a good thing to do. Open government kind of transparency, kind of letting people come before the board, the first line of everything that happens in town, and share an opinion with us.
Personally, I disagree. I think we have some very, very long meetings, and people are open to comment on every agenda item. So yeah, go ahead. Do you want to?
Well, I think that we don't necessarily have comment on non-voting items as our agenda stands right now. So I would be open to adding a public comment on agenda items that are things that are reported that maybe we don't vote on. But I would be hesitant about having just an open public comment for similar reasons to just the open board comment, in that we could end up going on to discussions. It could kind of sideswipe the agenda, the posted agenda, of what the public's expecting us to speak about. And you know, I know that the Board of Ed is brought up, so I went back and I just want to share the Fairfield Board of Education Handbook. Open board comment during meetings. The open board comment period should not be used to surprise the board or superintendent. Members should not use this agenda item as a time to commence a discussion which has not been noticed to the public. And that comes from the Connecticut Association of the Board of Education, Boardsmanship, 20 guidelines for board members. So in terms of, want to give that some context for my comments about not wanting to just have that be an entry point to discuss anything, but very much appreciate having, you know, a time at the end of the meeting for announcements that you could just share, you know, something might be going on in town that you might want to alert the public to, that wouldn't necessarily be.
Well, that was open board discussion and new business, and the Board of Selectmen, again, you know, I sound like this broken record, but we had it forever. I mean, I don't ever know when it was, and again, this is gonna be the first time it is taken away, and I'm sorry, but I can't help but feel that it is an effort to censor me, to stop me from sharing my opinion. I never did this.
Sharing your opinion all throughout the whole.
No, I get it, no, and I have to sneak it in, right? So if it's about something, I gotta, you know, associate it. But that's not the way it should be. Listen, I was elected, we're all elected, right? And I just think that in the history of the town of Fairfield, for as long as I've been involved, it was there. And it's not, we're not the Board of Ed, we're not a 9-member board, we're 3 people. And let's face it, Board of Ed gets a lot more visibility. Parents are on the Board of Ed because there's, you know, their kids and everybody's stressed out. Look at us, I mean, really, people aren't, nobody on. And what I'm saying is, even back in the day when Ken had it, there wasn't like a gaggle of people here. There was a couple people, Judy Ewing, and maybe a couple other people who wanted to comment. And it was their opportunity to share their opinion with the board, a citizen of this town. And I think it's right. I don't see the negative. And I say, let's try it. Let's restore open board discussion in new business. And let's throw open public comment at the end. And listen, if you feel it's horrible and too many people and it's making the meeting go, I mean, our meetings, this is the first agenda that wasn't 20-something pages, 20 items, but if you don't like it, then you can take it back. I just think it's the right thing to do. I mean, aside from the open board discussion, which I think was blatantly taken off. Never, it was there forever.
Yeah.
But the open board discussion's a new thing, right? It would be reinstituting something that used to be part of our Board of Selectmen meetings. And I think it's worth a shot to try it again.
Well, I won't vote in favor of that, because I do read I can't respond to every email that I get. And sometimes, you know, I know people like a personal response to me, but I do read every email there, and then, you know, there are opportunities to voice your opinion here about items on the agenda. If you and most of the items that people send, that we get a lot of emails on, end up in some sort of agenda item eventually. If it's traffic issues, you know, you get one issue with one corner, maybe it's not on the agenda, but you get 20. You end up, you know, going out. You do the studies, and they end up, you know, getting approved, and you got to spend money. But there are so many avenues for people to voice their opinions. We have to run orderly meetings, and to me, you're asking for something that hasn't been done in a very, very long time, including by yourself. And you know, I have to remind you, things change. And last charter revision commission, you were, you know, open, you know, not afraid to admit that you were in favor of sort of getting rid of the Board of Selectmen altogether. I mean, things do change over time, and so whether Ken Flato did it or whoever before him did it, I think that's a bad idea, because our meetings are sometimes very long and sometimes contentious, sometimes chaotic. So I don't think this is the place for it. That's just my opinion. I also have been in meetings where, I'll reiterate what Christine Vitale has said in the past, where things during open board comment come up and they're debated, they weren't on the agenda, and they leave people out. It is my intention, you know, you may ask for something to be put on the agenda, but it doesn't mean it necessarily can be on the next agenda if I'm not ready for it. But, you know, you've asked for a discussion on racial equity, you know, on the progress of that, but I mean, I can't necessarily put it on the next agenda if there's things sort of in the works that aren't ready for that yet, but I mean, they will be on the agenda within a relatively short period of time, so it's not like, you know, then people can come and listen and contribute on those agenda items, but I'm not in favor of chaos. I think that is and you know, there is a real, we have had some very, very chaotic meetings with people talking over each other and going on tangents and things like that. And I think this has been a great meeting, but not every meeting has been like this. And I think we need to establish a track record of civility on this board.
No, we can still be civil, but I also think, for example, you listed selectmen remarks, right? Now, it used to be open board discussion, and I would give a first select person report, and I would open up to the board. So right now, what you're saying
Well,
is that people have a right, but they don't really have a right, because you talked about those things today
And then I opened it up.
to us,
Right.
but not to anyone else. So it's counter, your argument, it doesn't hold water, because what you're saying is that we shouldn't have it because you can't sort of control it, or you don't want chaos. But government and open process is not always really clean. It's a little messy. And being able to talk about what you want to, but not affording myself or Christine that same opportunity feels like censorship. And then you're saying that the public wants to know about it, but it was listed on the agenda, but the public never got to speak about the 5 things.
Well, there were updates, they weren't.
Well, that's why I think
We talked about it.
But that's why I think that if I would be open to adding a public comment on agenda items. So if somebody came and had questions or wanted to give comment
About those items.
to those items that the first selectman reported out in a public meeting, I would be open to allowing that public comment, because it's focused on topics that have been noticed to the public.
I mean, that's fine for open, if you want public comment on items, I think that's more fair and more in line with what Bill just said. I think it should be at the end too. But at the same time, I still think we should restore open board discussion.
Like we're having now.
Yeah, right, because every time I'm gonna ask and
no one's tried to censor.
right, so why not just put it back on?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't, we're talking about something we've talked about before, and I don't think anyone's going to come to this meeting to talk about this subject. So, I mean, if you wanted to talk about something of real import, you know, that really affects the town, it should be on the agenda. So if it's a construction project or
just an
closing a school or whatever, I don't know.
Or just an
I mean,
event, like, you know,
it
if
can't
I
just be-
wanted to announce that, Operation Hope is doing something, or somebody's doing something great, and or some young person has a lemonade stand that they're trying to raise money for cancer. Just,
But you can do that.
there's no open board discussion.
No, that's a moment of privilege.
Well, I mean, you could take a moment of privilege. I think that that's the way you want to approach it, or I would be open to having just an announcement at the end of the meeting, just to announce, not to debate, not to discuss, but just to kind of share information with the public. You know, I'm one of the co-chairs of Fairfield Cares right now. Just wanted to let you know about that.
I mean, you know what, and
The fireworks this July 6th, so.
Share like an update about
announcement?
Fairfield Cares and what you're doing. I'm interested in hearing about it.
Well, I think that if I did, I would request that it be put
agenda.
on the agenda, because I think that people who are involved in Fairfield Cares would want to be present. And if you had questions about Fairfield Cares, I'm just one person, it's a coalition. I would want people in the room that would be able to properly answer your question. And that's it. I mean, I'm all for discussion. I just think.
You're on
we need to
the WPCA and you you're supposed to give updates about what's going on there. Now, we don't need the whole WPCA to line up.
No, I mean, in a lot, I
You
haven't.
just need like, hey, here's what we talked about at our meeting, here's what we approved.
Why wouldn't she email me and say, I want to give an update on WPCA?
Well,
I mean, I think
she should,
right.
actually, she should, because we used to
Right.
always ask for an
Right.
update from
So
Nancy.
those should be noticed though. So I think the difference is, I don't think that selectmen should have things pop into their heads and just want to, spout it out. Like, I think we have meetings every 2 weeks. All you have to do is email and we'll put it on the agenda if it's an update on something or, and then we could have a moment of privilege to make announcements about things that are important to you. But I think it's a timing issue, and I'd like to keep these orderly, because if we don't, they will eventually become. We've had some pretty nasty meetings where.
Well, I think we've had robust discussion. I think, maybe there were some decisions that the administration made that elicited a very tense response from the public. Listen, that's not I can't take credit for that. However, what I'm saying to you is that we've had spirited discussions over agenda items, whether it be having discussions with the Child's Garden and Pilot House before terminating their leases. We've had robust discussions, right, on agenda items. So I'm having trouble understanding. Let's keep it, civil, because we're gonna have open board discussion.
How about informed? How about let's keep it informed? So if it's on the agenda, the people that understand the issue have a chance to come.
Yeah.
I mean, what I think
But again,
you're asking for is a spur of the moment.
It's not debatable, right? It's open board discussion. Like Tom would give an update about something he read or whatever. Nancy would talk about WPCA, or maybe she'd give an update on whatever it was, something she wanted to ask about her. Now, I didn't necessarily have to answer her yes, but I did, and I always was respectful to both of them and allowed them to be an elected official and share their opinion during a public meeting. I never, ever tried to shut them down or censure them. I can't help but feel like that's what this is. And here we are going on, we could have just had open board discussion and we could have been done with it. So.
Well, now it just keeps people like,
right,
staying to the end, wondering, knowing that you're going to add. What is
the dreaded Brenda going to ask?
Well, before I forgot to ask, just during your update, can you just speak to the transfer station of not taking cash?
Oh, yes.
This is an item that would be very important to discuss during all.
This would have been something during the first Selectman's update, and he said any questions, we could have asked that question of the person.
Well, we have discussed this, and we discussed it.
Well, and I just think that it would just being that it's coming up on July 1st, that maybe just.
Board of Finance demanded this. I mean, Jim Walsh was basically,
But it wasn't
I'm back and, okay, maybe, but
But that's an administrative decision, not the Board of Finance.
But they do control.
Yeah, they control.
I think this is a matter of administration. You talk about modernizing town hall. There's some decisions that have to be made that are not that may inconvenience people a little bit or even a lot, but if you're used to using cash at the dump, it creates a lot of administration problems where you have to then have to look after the safekeeping of that cash. And the trend is moving away from cash. We have to, with an increasing budget and trying to keep our budget as low as possible, and with some control problems that we've seen in the past, internal control problems, it is safer and easier to use credit cards and get rid of some of the steps which we may not have been taking but should have been taking, or even if we're taking them, they're too time consuming. So we, as of July 1st, will no longer be taking cash at the transfer station, preferably credit cards or debit cards. We are going to allow people to write checks initially, but I hope that we don't get too many checks. I hope people get comfortable using their debit cards or credit cards. And a lot of places are moving to cashless, and the dump is a hard place to keep controls in place. So I just hope that that people understand that.
Is there going to be a month for just kind of this period or?
There will be,
Or some
there
time?
will be exceptions, that we're not gonna kick anyone
There
out
will
of
be
line.
checks.
But, you know, we had to have a hard stop, we've handed out, we put up notices everywhere, we've handed out cards letting people know now for some time. And I am really hoping that it's not too much of an inconvenience for people.
And one more question about your update. Just with Child's Garden, I attended the Board of Education meeting last night and it was shared that they would not have access to that space at the end of 2025, but would have the right of first refusal in 2026. I think there was just some concerns about, well, just about how that played out, but having something more definitive just so they can plan, I think, and I would just ask about something in writing or just knowing.
Yeah. I mean, the problem with the Board of Finance is,
That
the Board of Ed is, they don't necessarily always speak with one voice. So at some point, we'll need them to actually take a vote so that we can plan. Because if it's like this was really up till the very end, like didn't have consensus on even using that space. It may have passed and they may have gone forward with it, but the fact that, you know, going forward at some point during, you know, early 2026, I'm gonna wanna see like a commitment if that's what they wanna do, and I'd be definitely willing to. I mean, replacing, look, that program is growing, ECC is growing, and here we are talking about.
Well, I'm just.
So
Just jump in about this is all tied to the capital plan. So I'm hearing rumors that the Board of Ed is like, they forgot about the bonding cap that I put in place, which is important, 37.5. Splitting it between and when we had workshops, and I know maybe some people didn't like them, but the Board of Ed was here, superintendent, chair, vice chair, you know, 2 RTM, 2 Board of Finance, and everybody could watch it on FairTV, so they could go and see what were the discussions, what were the plans, and now it's like, oh, if you don't watch a Board of Ed meeting, you have no idea what the hell's going on, and if you're a citizen of this town, you don't know what the long-range plan is anymore, because it seems like they're just voting to spend tons of money that no one knows about. I'm hearing now a $50 million Dwight School, and I'm like, whoa, what happened? Whoa, because I mean, we had the capital plan, they agreed, the education.
Wasn't that on the capital plan?
No, so I'm hearing this, so what I'm saying, we need to have. No, we had air conditioning, I mean, I can go back and pull my old files, but.
I don't think it's
Well,
changed.
we're gonna have a discussion on the
Million, you know, for the education, and 13 approximate, and then the town would give up.
Should we end the meeting and have this conversation?
Well, I'm just saying, can we put this, I really think that it is
Well, that'll be
so
part of
vitally
the-
important, not just for us, Bill, but for the community at large, for us to be in a room with the other boards and have these discussions, because it seems like everybody's kind of off like the Wild West. And like you're saying, you don't even know what they're doing with the ECC. I personally don't think, I would never put a temporary ECC in a floodplain building. I mean, I think that the seniors who, and I've said this before, who have, you know, spent their whole lives paying taxes in this town and didn't run out of here for the South, should be able to have an opportunity to have a decent senior center and more opportunities for social work. Because a lot of our seniors need that help. And, you know, I'd like us to have an open discussion so the whole town could hear it, you know, because what are you supposed to be like, watching the Board of Ed, watching the Board of Finance, I mean, people are not gonna be doing that. They're not watching all these meetings.
I think you give those meetings too much credit. We are gonna have our meeting. And we will have a capital planning meeting that brings everyone together. I mean,
Oh, good.
well, we've done it forever. You did it differently, and
Well,
they
that
were
was once
poorly
a
attended.
year. That was once a year.
Yeah, and we could do it multiple days.
But people actually tuned into those workshops, and you know what it was? It was
I don't think they did,
collaborative, because
I don't
we
think it
had-
was. I mean, it's a difference of opinion.
there was,
The
I mean.
feedback from the people, I mean, here we are debating
Well, this is-
something,
I'm not sure, there's just seems like, I mean, do we still have a bonding cap in place, or are we just gonna spend?
Of course, we have a bonding cap, but we were not looking at it allocating percentages.
And this is exactly, this
So-
type
so
of
let's
stuff right
not-
now is
let's-
pretty substantive, that we
This
shouldn't
is
be having.
substantive
Capital planning.
discussion.
Capital plan.
That it's
Um,
not noticed, and people are gonna be like, oh, that wasn't
Well,
on the
we-
agenda.
we are-
You started, Christine, you started talking about.
No, I didn't, I just said in terms of child's garden.
On you.
All right.
So shame on
May I have a
me.
motion to, I mean, we can continue to
No,
chat
I'm
after the
good.
meeting. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second,
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
So let's talk about,
I mean, let's.
no, I guess that would be a
let's have an
FOIA.
unnoticed
That would be an
meeting.
unnoticed